Have you ever noticed something fascinating when you first started learning a new skill? Maybe it was picking up a guitar, learning a new language, or trying your hand at painting. In those first few days or weeks, you probably experienced rapid progress. Chords that seemed impossible suddenly clicked, words started flowing more naturally, your brushstrokes became more confident. And then, just as mysteriously as it began, that rapid progress seemed to slow down or even stop altogether. What you experienced is something psychologists and learning experts call the beginner effect, and understanding this phenomenon might just be the key to unlocking your potential in any skill you choose to pursue. Today, we're going to dive deep into what the beginner effect really is, why it happens, how it can both help and hinder your learning journey, and most importantly, how you can harness its power while avoiding its pitfalls. So, what exactly is the beginner effect? The beginner effect, sometimes called the beginner gains or the novice advantage, refers to the phenomenon where learners make rapid, often dramatic improvements when they first start learning a new skill or engaging in a new activity. This initial period of accelerated progress is typically followed by a plateau or a slower rate of improvement as the learner becomes more experienced. Think of it like this: imagine you're filling a bucket. When the bucket is empty, each cup of water you pour in makes a dramatic difference. You can see the water level rising quickly, but as the bucket fills up, each additional cup makes less of a noticeable difference. The beginner effect works in much the same way. The term has been observed across virtually every domain of human learning, whether we're talking about physical fitness, musical instruments, languages, sports, academic subjects, or professional skills. The beginner effect appears again and again. It's one of the most universal phenomena in learning science. But here's what makes the beginner effect particularly interesting. It is not just about the objective improvements you're making, it's also deeply connected to your perception of progress, your motivation, and your psychological state as a learner. The beginner effect is as much about how learning feels as it is about what you're actually learning. Now that we know what the beginner effect is, let's explore why it happens. Understanding the mechanisms behind this phenomena can help us work with it rather than against it. First is the simple matter of starting from zero. When you know absolutely nothing about a subject, knowledge you gain represents massive percentage growth. If you learn 10 words in a new language, you've gone from knowing 0 words to knowing 10. That's infinite percentage growth. But when you already know 1,000 words, learning 10 more only increases your vocabulary by 1%. The same absolute gain feels much less impressive. Second, the fundamentals of any skills are often the most impactful. When you're learning to play tennis, simply understanding how to hold the racket properly and make contact with the ball transforms you from someone who can't play at all to someone who can rally back and forth. These fundamental skills create dramatic visible improvements, but once you have the basics down, improving your serve by 5 miles per hour or refining your backhand technique, while valuable, doesn't produce the same dramatic transformation. Third, the neurological component to the beginner effect. When you're learning something entirely new, your brain is forming brand new neural pathways. This process, called neuroplasticity, is particularly active and rapid when you're first encountering novel information or skills. Your brain is literally rewiring itself, and this creates a rush of learning that can feel almost magical. As these pathways become established, the rate of new connection formation naturally slows down. Finally, there's a powerful psychological component, the excitement and motivation of novelty. When something is new, we are often more focused, more engaged, and more willing to put in effort. This novelty driven motivation can actually accelerate our learning, but as the activity becomes familiar, it's easy for that initial excitement to wane, which can slow our progress even if our capacity to learn hasn't changed. The beginner effect doesn't just influence how fast we learn, it profoundly shapes our entire learning experience and how we feel about our abilities. During the beginner effect phase, learners often feel a sense of euphoria. There's something deeply satisfying about seeing rapid progress. Each practice session brings visible improvements. You can do things today that you couldn't do yesterday. This creates a powerful positive feedback loop. Success breeds motivation, which breeds more practice, which breeds more success. This is why many people fall in love with new hobbies in the first few weeks. The beginner effect makes learning feel easy, natural, and rewarding. It can create a sense of confidence, sometimes even overconfidence. You might think, if I've improved this much in just 2 weeks, imagine where I'll be in 6 months. But here's where things get tricky. When the beginner effect ends and progress slows down, Many learners experience what we might call plateau shock. Suddenly, practice sessions don't yield obvious improvements. You might practice for a week and feel like you're exactly the same level you were before. The activity that once felt effortless and rewarding now feels frustrating and difficult. This is the point where many people quit. They interpret the slowdown as evidence that they've hit the natural limit, that they don't have the talent, or that the activity isn't for them. In reality, what they're experiencing is completely normal. It's just the transition from beginner to intermediate learner. The psychological challenge here is significant. We become accustomed to the rapid progress of beginner phase, and when it ends, it can feel like we're moving backwards, even when we're still moving forward, just at a slower pace. It's like driving on a highway at 70 miles per hour and then transitioning to city streets. Even though you're still moving forward at 30 miles per hour, it feels painfully slow by comparison. Understanding that this transition is normal and expected is crucial for long term success in any skill. The end of the beginner effect isn't a wall, it's a doorway to deeper, more sophisticated learning. Understanding the beginner effect is crucial for anyone pursuing mastery in any field. Mastery isn't just about getting through the beginner phase, it's about continuing to learn and improve long after the easy gains are gone. True masters understand that the learning journey has many phases. The beginner effect is just the first. After it comes the intermediate plateau, where progress feels slow but crucial foundation is being built. Then comes the periods of breakthrough and consolidation, when new insights suddenly make sense of previous learning. Advanced learners experience cycles of progress and plateau, but these cycles look different from the beginner experience. The beginner effect is one of the most beautiful and frustrating aspects of human learning. It gives us the initial momentum we need to get started, the early wins that build our confidence, and the proof that improvement is possible. But it can also deceive us about the nature of long term learning and tempt us to give up when progress inevitably slows. The key is to see the beginner effect for what it is, a launchpad, not a destination. It's the rocket fuel that gets you off the ground, but it's not what sustains you for the long journey ahead. Real learning, deep learning, the kind of learning that transforms you and leads you to true mastery, that happens after the beginner effect fades. So, the next time you start learning something new, enjoy those first rapid gains, celebrate them, feel proud of them, but also remember that they're just the beginning. The real learning, the real growth, the real transformation, that all happens when you keep going after the initial excitement fades. The beginner effect gets you in the door. What happens next? That's entirely up to you. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe for more.